Welcome to the GM-4 Mastermind Podcast. This is where we have conversations centered around leadership, personal development, and self-growth. This episode of the GM-4 Mastermind Podcast is sponsored by Cleveland Homes, where you dream it and they build it. Today on the podcast, we have an amazing individual who has engaged in one of the services of GM-4, and I am looking forward to having an enriching discussion with him. Without much further ado, I would like to introduce my guest. He is Dr. Sunday Agbonika. Welcome to the GM-4 Mastermind Podcast, Dr. Sunday.
Thank you so much. So good to be here, actually.
We are happy to have you here. I am super excited. I haven't seen you in a long while.
That's like how many years now?
Dr. Sunday, please, we would like to get to know you. Could you tell us more about yourself?
Okay, so I am a veterinary doctor. I'm a social entrepreneur. I am the founder of Dog I Love Human Support Initiative. I am a past participant in 10X. 10X was one of the products of GM-4, and that was, for me, an experience of a lifetime. It gave me a shift that I just can't explain in words in a short space of time. And the flagship project, anyway, of my nonprofit that I called earlier, Dog I Love Human Support Initiative, is we are pioneering what in the Western world is known as human-animal interactions, on the continent of Africa. So basically, we're trying to help people heal by bringing animals into that healing process.
Thank you. Well said. Now, you said something that really caught my interest. You talked about one of the products of the Mastermind, which was very transformative. What was your experience like?
Okay, so I would say it gave me a major mental shift. Major mental shift, and I especially loved how we first of all came into it not knowing fully well what to expect. And we just thought we were coming to learn stuff about work, growth, personal development, and all. What we were not exactly so prepared for, which was part of what now this thing was, getting that level of mental shift that at some point you're not so comfortable with, but you know this is part of what you need. That was a good part of the process for us. And so growing from that place where we were all shifted, so to speak, to a place where we had grown and taken into or built into our awareness things we probably may have before then ignored. So all of that shifted us in a way that took us to places in our mental states that helped us grow as individuals, helped us grow as a team, and helped us to also be able to better relate with the world around us.
Fantastic. You said something about having to do something that you didn't like, but it was what was needed. And that statement took me way back to, it painted a hospital scenario for me where you go see the doctor, you're diagnosed, and you're prescribed injections. You're a doctor, so you relate, and then you do not want the injections, but it's what you need. It's what you need, and I totally relate with that. Um, having gone through the GM-4 Mastermind, you mentioned a mind shift. How has that impacted your life? Just share how that mind shift has been able to produce tangible and relatable results in your life.
Okay, so I would say it on a number of dimensions. I would start with marriage to say that one of the things as well that the mastermind did for me was help me to get a better understanding or sense of what exactly marriage is supposed to be. And I will take that to also say, in a sense, it literally was what the mastermind equally was. I would say the mastermind for us equally was a sort of marriage where we had to meet with people, or we came together with people and everything, and then we now learned to collectively grow and all. So that now became a model for me in a sense, helping me to now, do I say, take into cognizance some things which also for choice of a partner I may not have considered before then, knowing that growth was a strong factor as well, and then a number of other things also that now listening. So that now helped to shape the decision even of a life partner. And today I'm married to someone who we are on that level of collective awareness together, and we are growing together in our individual, professional, and collective as a family, growing in our awareness and all that together. So that's that. Then talking about my project and work as well, I came in not so formed, if I put it that way, with an idea of what I was looking at for my career, for my life and all, but having a sense of direction. And one of the things that this helped to do as well, or the 10X helped to do as well, was being able to zero in, get better clarity, better focus, and then just zero in on what it was that I wanted to do and sticking with it. So it was one of the things that one of the places that I really got that motivation to stick with it.
Thank you very much. You see, when you say 10X, I want to understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, the name of the mastermind, but then it's referred to as the Mind Gym. So yes. 10X is the group made up of a couple of you guys. How many were in the group? What books did you read? Just walk us through the setting so that we can have a feel of what it is that you went through that really impacted your decision, bordering around the very important aspect of our lives, which is marriage.
Okay, so we started off as being what now? I think like eight, somewhere between 8 to 10 members. I think we started like 10. And then along the way, 2 people dropped off. So we remained like 8 of us that went through the experience. And we read a couple of books. One of the reasons why I would say, for example, that at some point it was uncomfortable and everything was we started off reading books that I think the first 2-3 books were books that were to set the pace.
Yeah.
And at some point we read some of those books and I literally remember some people crying while reading some of the books. Crying because the books made them feel, what have I been doing all my life? And all of that. So we started off, and then that helped to build the pace or set the pace for how we were going to go, to know that we were literally going to come in contact with materials, books, learning, and even togetherness, collective awareness and growth and everything that would take us places where we may not have known that even existed. Awesome. So we read a good number of books, Out from the Heart, James Allen, what's the book now by Vishen Lakhiani? I can't remember the name now, by Vishen Lakhiani. Then obviously one of my best books ever, So we read so I'll come back to the books anyway.
Okay. Can I suggest, could it be the 7 Habits of
Yes,
Highly
7
Effective
Habits
People?
of Highly Effective People.
Okay. The
Yes, was
Road
on the
Less
list.
Traveled.
The Road Less Traveled. So we read
The Compound Effect.
The Compound Effect.
Yeah.
We read 10X as well. Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
We read the Patrick Lencioni, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
The Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, that book.
Was that one of the books that made you cry, or made some of you cry? Because you said something about reading books that made you all cry and ask questions. What have I been doing with my life?
Yeah, so I think the first book which we were told to read, which did that for some of the members of the group, was Out from the Heart.
Wow.
By James Allen. That book, I remember one of the members of the team just coming and talking about, he was literally just, the book just shifted him entirely. He came crying and everything and all. And so Out from the Heart was that. For me, one of the books that really gave me that kind of effect was Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, the entire experience that he narrated and everything, and talking about existential living and the mindset and all of that, and that being part of what helped him through that entire process. The process of the experience they went through there and all of that was major for me as well.
So apart from that book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, was there any other book that had an impact on you?
There were a lot, literally all the books, I would say, for me. But the one book, if I was to pick one, for me, that I would say gave me the most shift, it would be The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. From the very first words to the very last, every part of that book was something for me. It's a book which, at the end of the day, I feel I would recommend for every living being, every human being to read. The mind shift I got from that book was, in fact, my review of the book, I think that was one of the most lengthy reviews because for every book we had to do a review. You have to write in your review, and then we had to discuss in the meetings and all. And for me, that was the book that I wrote a whole lot about.
You said from the very first sentence to the last of that book, The Road Less Traveled. Do you remember the first sentence?
Life is difficult. That's the very first sentence from the book.
Fantastic. And the moment you realize that life is difficult, life no longer becomes difficult.
Exactly.
Awesome. Do you feel that the Mind Gym, a product of the Mastermind, was a worthy investment for you?
I would say it was much more than a worthy investment for me.
Why?
So it shifted me in a number of ways. I can say that like a billion times. So I'm almost sounding like a broken record at this point, but yes, it shifted me beyond words. It shifted me in a number of ways. So like I said, my marital life today and all, it's a good part of what came out from that. My project as well was equally part of what came forth from that. I am doing something that literally in all of my country didn't exist in my country and does not exist for much of my continent as well. And it's not the easiest of things to do, to stand in a place where, for example, where at some points, especially in the beginning, it seems like you're getting a lot of discouragement and all. But then part of why I have stuck with it was the Mind Gym. Everything we went through there, the conversations on legacy, conversations that also drove one to being able to have clarity of purpose, and conversations as well that stuck with me of building a future, what one envisaged for the future and all of that. So those are part of the things that helped me to stay on course. And in the beginning, for the first number of years, it didn't seem like it was something that was growing. But today, it's something that has got me to a point where I can literally say I now have global visibility. And then that particular project now is getting attention from different parts of the world. I now have mentors in different parts of the world. I have people I'm collaborating with as well from places, in fact, people I've never met and all. And all of that now stems from the fact that I was able to stay the course. And I stayed the course because of things I learned, built my mind, gave me clarity, and made me stick.
This is so encouraging to hear. And I hope that those who are listening will reach out to us and see, being part of the Mind Gym, a product of the Mastermind, a worthy investment. I love what you said about the fact that, your life has transformed based off of all that you went through, and you stayed the course, because sometimes not staying the course won't yield the result. So you are not just saying this thing works, but you're also ensuring that we do the work, because it's not just about coming together and reading books. It's about applying ideas. Can you share some of the ideas that you applied from the books that you've read? And I also want you to tell me the duration of the mastermind. And I also need you, I'm sorry, I'm asking too many questions at the same time. The third and final question is for you to take us through the stage of how the mastermind setup was for you, like the times that you came, how long, and the process. I want to know, because I'm sure that most people want to understand. Now, before I let you speak, I want to say something. There are people who have a misconception about the mastermind. They think it's a book club. Would you call it that?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a book club. For us then, there were two major components. One was, let me call it the book club, the readings and everything. And that was part of what helped to build our collective awareness. Then the second was the mastermind and the accountability group. Those were the two seeming components of it for us back then. And so, like, answering a part of the question as well, for us, it was, I think we ran for over a year in the program back then. And typically, most meetings were typically 2 hours. But many times we were so engrossed that it would go way over 2 hours.
I know.
Sometimes even going as far as 3 hours plus more. But for us, the entire experience, first of all, we all came in, like I said, we came in as people who seemingly knew ourselves in a way. But then we were coming from different backgrounds, different thought patterns, different levels of spirituality, different levels of individual awareness. Some of us had not exactly even been reading books and all that before the Mind Gym. And then we now came in, and a good part of what we had to start with was reading books. A good part of what we had to do in meetings as well was being able to interact and speak from the awareness from the book, speak even for individual projects that we were running. We had to hold ourselves accountable. And one thing also that for me did was, it was one of the things that also helped me to build some level of courage in my work. I would say that because I probably would say I came from a childhood background that would have made me a bit more timid, a bit more shy. And I love the fact that for every meeting, we were literally encouraged to be ourselves. We were encouraged to speak. It was a no judgment zone. It was a place where you could speak up and say what's on your mind without being judged. And so that gave us the freedom to express ourselves. that we were equally encouraged to each and every one of us to participate. So if you're not exactly participating, you'll be nudged one way or the other to get to speak up, to get to express yourself and all of that. So it helped me grow in various ways, helped me grow, helped me grow in being more confident. And the entire team, the collective team awareness as well, especially for the accountability group. We were now holding ourselves accountable for our different projects. So this is what you're doing. Okay, so you have to set a goal and set timelines, and then sometimes you're paired with a partner. Your partner is your accountability partner, and then helps you to stay accountable to your goals per week or per time. And all of that helped us to continually, grow reading books, grow in our projects, grow in other things that we were equally collectively now coming together for.
Brilliant. I am amazed at the uniqueness of the Mind Gym. You said something very profound. I mean, you've said so many things that are or were profound or are profound, which is it's not just about coming to read books, but you build confidence. You said something about your confidence being built. Awareness, like you get to know a negative way of thinking that you didn't know prior to being exposed to the Mind Gym. You also said something about the Mastermind and the Mind Gym, which a lot of us are craving for. No judgment zone. I love that phrase because when you put people in a safe space to be able to express themselves, it's amazing the creativity and the brilliance that can come out of individuals.
True.
Finally, I know you keep making reference to during your time back then. Could you be specific? We want to know the year. And then any final words that you have for those who are out there who haven't been exposed to the Mastermind, GM-4, the Mind Gym, or the accountability aspect. What are your final thoughts? Now, let me go back and ask the questions again so that you don't forget. The first one is I need you to give us the timestamp of your own experience and your final words for our audience or our listeners.
Okay, so for the timestamp, if I recall correctly, I think we started off sometime around October 2017, and we ran all through till December 2018, if I recall correctly. Then talking about final words for people who may want to join the Mind Gym as well, I would say it's a whole experience. So yes, we were led by someone who is a coach, Victor Noche, but then what I loved about even the coaching part of it as well and having that with him and all was, yes, the things that were brought in, all the materials, the accountability, and then there was even that coaching part and all, is it wasn't like him or someone telling you what to do, but it was like someone helping you to dig deep into your soul, dig deep into your heart to find who you are. And that was the entire process with him. So adding all of these things together, I would say all of that is something that everyone who really needs to achieve or who really hopes to achieve mind-breaking results would need. You would need the books, the materials, everything that will build your mindset. If you already are not on that plane, and if you already are on that plane, then yes, it would equally help to fine-tune you better. You would need the accountability group. It would help to have people hold your hands. You would need that no judgment zone where you can express yourself freely and where you seem to form a tribe with people who you may or may not have even known before and may not exactly have known that you could build a tribe with. You would need that coaching experience of someone helping you to, now it depends on if you may have been able to find some level of clarity, but if
Yeah.
you may not have, you would need that experience of someone who helps you to dig deep into your soul, to find who you are, to find what you represent, and to help you to stand up for that thing in the face of whatever it is that comes. So you need all these things together to be able to achieve what I would say is an unfathomable future, or an unfathomable impact.
Wow.
Basically, to leave a legacy that you will be proud of. And I would say all of these things are what the Mind Gym is. So the more reason why, for me, I would recommend this for anyone who really, really feels like they want to take their life and career to a level that is beyond the next level.
Wow. What an interesting conversation with Dr. Sunday Agbonika. He is just such an amazing conversationist, and I know that you've been able to a wealth of experience that he has shared with us all regarding his experience engaging in one of the products and services of Genus Metaphor. Now, just like he rightly said, if you are looking to take your life beyond the next level, please, the Mastermind, the Mind Gym is something that you should consider. And until next time, when I have an amazing guest share their experiences, have an amazing evening or week or day. Thank you.